Hi there, hello and welcome to this month's Q&A show. I'm your host, Diana YK Chan, founder of Magnify Your Marketability, where we help professionals differentiate as top talent to get the job they love, earn more money, and accelerate their career. So this month's topic is how to get job search ready. So I'm here tonight to share with you some job search secrets, some success stories, and what recruiters look for. I see that people are just coming in. If you have any questions, feel free to type into the chat room and I will answer your questions here tonight. So why don't we start off first of all is to share some success stories. So this past week I've had 4 clients who successfully got job offers. And I want to share with you what they've done is to give you some inspiration and motivation as well. One of my clients is a senior level professional in the finance industry with over 15 years of experience. She got a job as a finance controller in the construction industry. And she was actually originally from Spain, new to Canada, no network at all. And the way she got her job was a lot of networking. Every single week she would be attending a networking event and she would have coffee meetings with people and talk to someone, at least one person a day. So she just met people every single week. And the way she got to her job offer was, my advice to her was actually meeting the right type of people. So in her case, was talking to finance people, talking to CFOs, finance directors, finance managers, talking to recruiters in the finance industry. And so eventually, at a networking event, she met a recruiter that was specialized in the finance industry. And that's how she got considered as a candidate for the role and eventually got hired her. A second success story was actually a new grad who was also new to Canada as well. And the way how he found his job was also a lot of networking, talking to his friends, talking to friends' parents, getting advice on what type of opportunities may be available. And eventually he got a job in trade finance at one of the top tier banks. And one of the advice that he talked about was again, being persistent, having that great attitude, that positive energy and calm mindset as well. What's important, especially if you're a new grad or someone that's new to the industry, it's important to really reveal your passion and your enthusiasm, that eager mindset as well, that people can feel that you're humble and you're willing to learn and do what it takes to make things happen. The third success story was also from someone else who was new to Canada, from Italy. He got a job as a project coordinator at a web agency that specialized in designing websites. And how he found that job was actually talking to people, leveraging LinkedIn to get that opportunity. And he actually worked in the nonprofit industry in a digital marketing role. So he made a change in a different industry, but because he had those transferable skills, he was hired. Another person was also a recent grad with about a year of experience, and he got a job as a corporate strategy analyst in the retail industry. And for him, he was actually in a consulting background and wanted to go into retail. And the way how he found that job that he told me was also through networking, through multiple levels of connections, of introductions that led him to that opportunity. For him, the transferable skill set that he had was coming from a consulting background where he had that strategy and analytical transferable skill set to apply to this role, and also demonstrating his passion for in the retail industry. So I share with you this to let you know that job search can be very frustrating. You get a lot of no's before you get to your yes. And so it is really, really important to work on your mindset, those positive affirmations that you have, and to also maybe have like a job search buddy or someone that who is just positive and motivating to help you stay on track. Especially this time of the year, it's the recruiting season that's really busy. A lot of companies are hiring. There are a lot of job fairs. So I really recommend that you take advantage of that. Like, you have this window from September till that November timeframe where a lot of companies are either at job fairs, conducting information sessions, or meeting people, and this is a great time to just get yourself out there. Okay? So if you have any questions, feel free to type into the chat room, and I'll answer them. What I'm going to do is, first of all, is I'm going to go into my job search readiness checklist. So I want to share with you 10 things that you need to have ready to prepare for a successful job search. So I'll go through one at a time. Number one is that you need to have an achievable career goal. Now this is what's going to give you clarity and focus for your job search of how you're going to put your where you're going to put your efforts. When I say achievable, it's based on where you are in your career and what makes sense in terms of the level of the job. So, for example, if you're a new grad, then you're obviously targeting like new grad type of roles. If you are someone at a management level, at a manager level, then you would be targeting something either at management level or ready for a promotion level type of role. Okay. That is essential because that's what's going to make it possible there. Number two is that you want to list out what I call your targeted ROI, which is your targeted roles, organizations, and industry. Okay, so this is what's going to help you stay focused with your job search. So first of all, you work backwards. You identify your targeted industries. Usually I recommend to have just one or two so that you can stay focused. If you have more than two, just keep in mind that that is a separate search, which means you got to double that effort with your search, a job search there. And then you move into based on the industry you're interested in. So for example, let's say CPG, consumer packaged goods, you want to identify the list of organizations that's in that industry. And you can segment it by tiers, meaning let's say tier 1 CPG firms and tier 2 CPG firms. The reason you do that is that it helps you also stay focused. A tier 1 CPG firm versus a tier 2 CPG firm would also have different hiring requirements. And also, like a tier 1 CPG would be more competitive. So we know that you're probably going to have to put a lot more effort to get your foot in the door versus a tier 2 firm. Okay? And then from there, you identify the list of roles, the job titles that you are targeting. Okay? So for example, like even if you're interested in, say, marketing, the job titles could be marketing specialist, marketing coordinator, assistant marketing manager, or assistant brand manager. You want to list out all those job titles because that will help you with your search when you type it into job boards or when you're doing your search on LinkedIn. It will help you with the search. Okay, so this is a big exercise you can do. I recommend put together at least 10 different companies on your list. Ideally, I would say even getting to 30 to 50 at first, and then you narrow it down the firms that you want to target. Okay. What I usually also recommend to my clients is that you start with the firms that are not as competitive, or those firms that are not necessarily your ideal firms, so that you can test the waters out to get some feedback or even practice your interview skills before you get to what I call your dream companies. Okay. Number 3 is research, research, research. So this is where the preparation and due diligence come in that will really set you apart. Employers and recruiters can really tell whether you've done your research. So you want to find out information about the company culture, the hiring requirements. You want to understand the business priorities, what are the trends, the challenges, what are the new products that are coming out, who are their ideal clients, who are the competitors, how well they're doing with in their business in terms of finance. You really want to understand that either by going on their corporate website if they have one, going on to like their LinkedIn page, any of their social media pages as well to identify some trends. The third way is really conducting informational interviews or people who work there. Okay. This research will certainly help you out because it will help you speak the language of the industry, the lingo, what I call. Okay. I remember I was talking to a client a couple months ago, and she's a hiring manager, and she says that what has really set candidates apart from her interviews, and she works at a bank, is really the preparation, right? Showcasing that you understand the business, you understand the industry, you understand what it takes to be a successful candidate for the role. You understand the challenges as well, so that you can also ask great questions and be able to give an opinion of a certain situation or a challenge. Number 4 is you want to have what I call a remarkable resume to stand out. I can tell you as a recruiter, I've seen over 10,000 resumes, and most of the resumes, I would say 90% of them, all look the same. So if you actually take the time to make it stand out by whether through a design, the logo, adding some brand color, but also making it what I call accomplishments oriented. Majority of the resumes I see is very what I call responsibilities oriented, which is what you can get from a job posting. So when you think about that, when a recruiter looks at a resume, someone has to come from a marketing background, a marketing specialist, like 2 resumes, how will they differentiate is really based on the scope of the work that they've done, how they've added value through their accomplishments, what they've created, what they developed, and what the bottom line results are. So being able to quantify the successes is essential there. Okay. The other key thing is to really have what I call relevant keywords. So you want to have keywords that is applicable to the role and applicable to the industry. So using the same example in marketing, some of the relevant keywords could be market research, market analysis, marketing campaigns, marketing strategy, customer experience, product development, product marketing. Map out all those keywords that would be relevant to those jobs. And obviously you would only include that in there is whether you either have that expertise or you have like an interest in that area. Resume is a whole topic that I can talk about for an hour, but that's something I can tell you, it is something that it is critical to getting your foot in the door. Number 5 is to have an optimized LinkedIn profile. I can tell you, probably many of you have heard about this, as a recruiter, pretty much all the people that I've hired are found through LinkedIn. Okay, so if you don't have whether it's an optimized profile or a great LinkedIn profile, you're really missing out to get found, essentially. Your LinkedIn profile is also a great way for making that first impression. It's all what I call, it's like your online business card, where you can add your LinkedIn URL to your email signature. So even if they don't have your resume, but when they get your email, they can click on your LinkedIn profile to see who you are, the type of experience you have to offer. And the other great thing about LinkedIn that's different from a resume is that there's not really like a page limit. So you can actually have more keywords. You can even add images, blog posts, videos to bring more just that personality and then more that interaction for people to get to really know you as well. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind. I always recommend that not only having a great LinkedIn profile, you can also leverage LinkedIn as one of your primary job search tools. Okay, so one of the things that you can do as part of to prepare for your job search is what I call it's profiling. So for example, if one of your targeted roles is in marketing, type in that job title and go check out people's profiles, like what did they do to get to where they are today? What companies did they work at? What kind of education did they have? What kind of training or courses did they take? Who are they connected to? So it really helps you get a lot of information to prepare for your job search. And if this person happens to be, let's say, a hiring manager, it's a great way to find out more about their business as well. You can reach out to them to connect. The same goes for reaching out to recruiters as well. You can really leverage that tool. So number 6 is you want to have what I call your outreach messages ready. So what I mean by that is that during your job search, you're going to reach out to people via LinkedIn, via email, via the phone. You want to have what I call at least a template in terms of the format of your communication ready. You have a short version if you're inviting someone to connect on LinkedIn. You have a longer version in email when you're asking for, let's say, a referral or for advice. By doing that, this will save you a lot of time during your job search. I do this even as a recruiter. I will have standard message templates that I will use for different purposes, say to invite to connect on LinkedIn, to send an in-mail on when I'm reaching out and presenting an opportunity, and I can make tweaks along the way. But this will save a lot of time during your job search. This includes also thank you messages. Having a template created it will really help you, save you a lot of time so that you're not panicking when you're following up after a meeting. Number 7 is that you want to have what I call a compelling cover letter. I know some people ask me whether a cover letter is necessary. I'm going to be honest, as a recruiter, I may not necessarily at the beginning review all the cover letters, but the cover letter could be a great tool that would just separate you from other candidates, especially when it comes to final round interviews, when your profiles are similar to your competition. The cover letter will be a great way to really differentiate of why you. A cover letter is also, I would say, essential for those who are looking to make a career change in an industry or role, especially when you may not have that much relevant experience on your resume. The cover letter is a great way to explain that why, like why you're looking to make that change, why you're looking to join this new industry, what you have to offer. Okay, so it's really a way to personalize your message even further. Okay, so moving on to number 8 is that you want to have what I call your glowing introduction, which AKA is your elevator pitch. You want to master this glowing introduction. Okay, so what I mean by that is that you want to have a very compelling and clear and concise message of a great opening, that what I call open with a hook that generates curiosity, and then you want to have in the middle part is that you want to have the credibility by providing your past experience and some of your proud accomplishments. In the end, you want to close it with a bang in terms of why you, or why are you interested in this industry, where are you now in your career, and why are you excited about this new opportunity that you're looking forward to. Okay. This takes time. What I recommend is that you want to have what I call a 20-second version of your introduction for networking events, and a 2-minute version when you use it for an interview. Okay. Number 9 is you want to have a networking job search plan. Now, you probably have heard that 70% of the jobs are found through networking. Right? So if you're just relying on applying through job boards, you're missing out a big part of the pie here. And so when we talk about networking, and I can tell from experience, is that most people are either afraid of networking or they find it awkward that they need to sell themselves. But networking is one of the most effective ways to get a job. In fact, you're 5 times more likely to get hired when you get a referral for an opportunity. So this is something, what I call it, you want to be constantly growing your network and nurturing your network throughout your entire career, whether you're looking for a job or not, because you never know when you need to ask for a favor or when you want to make an introduction to someone else there. And so when I talk about having that job search plan, is that you want to identify what I call the right people to connect with, so people who are in that industry or have influence or well connected. So I'll give you that an example. You know, we talked earlier about my client who got a job. She was doing a lot of networking, but she was not getting interviews, and the reason being was that she was not networking with the right people. As soon as I advised her to network with people specifically in finance, but also who are senior CFO level and director level, people really understand her background, that's when she started getting opportunities. So you want to talk to the right people as well, who can also help you open doors. Keep in mind that with networking, sometimes the first person you meet may not necessarily be the one to get you that job, but this person may know someone else in their network that they can introduce you to open your door. And in fact, there's actually been studies shown that typically it's through the second level network where you'll find the job opportunities. So meaning it's through your friends or family's contacts. Networking is a whole other topic that I can talk about. There's a lot of things involved in terms of the pre-prep of networking when you actually also go to a networking event. There's a lot of things there. The point I really want to make here is that you do need a plan of who you're going to network with, where you're going to network with, and the frequency of how often you're going to network as well. And number 10 is interview prep. So preparing for your interviews. If you think that you can just wing the interviews, that's not going to make you stand out. It's a very, very competitive market out there. So back when I was saying that you want to master your glowing introduction, You also want to really prepare for the common interview questions that you'll get. So for example, the standard questions on why are you interested in this company? Why are you interested in this industry? Why are you interested in this role? Why are you the ideal candidate to hire? Behavioral questions on anything related to conflict, ethical dilemmas, problem solving, like tell me a time when you faced a challenge, like what did you do? Prepare for that. Think of some really good stories that you can tell, because that's what's going to really make you stand out. So let me give you an example, or let me use like in terms of how to think about stories or examples. I talk about what I have like the 3 I's. So what makes you interesting, inspiring, and impressive? Interesting, inspiring, and impressive. So you think of those 3 categories, you'll be able to come up with stories that you can talk about. And I'll use an example. I actually coached a client earlier this week, and he's actually a soon to be new grad. He's graduating next year, and he is aspiring an accountant. He wants to work for one of the top accounting firms. And so he approached me back in July to prepare for his interviews and to prepare for his job search in September, which is happening right now. So we started our coaching back in August, where we worked on the resume, the cover letter, interview prep, and he knew the deadline for the jobs. They were due like last week, and he knew that the interview would happen the following week. And this was from his past experience that he learned from. So he started way ahead. And so just a couple of days ago, we actually did a mock interview because he had an interview actually today. And one thing that really stuck out for me for him was not only he was prepared, but the way that he structured his interview responses was very compelling. So the way he structured, and some of you probably have heard about the CAR model, context, action, result. Well, let me break this down. The context would be the situation or the story, or defining the problem, or defining the meaning of, let's say, leadership, and then backing up with an example of how he demonstrated that quality or characteristic, for example. So that made it really memorable, because the stories and examples are unique to you. No one else would have had that. That's how you're gonna really stand out. And then the result is, it doesn't necessarily have to be something like a great accomplishment or anything. It could be what you learn from that experience, what you would do differently, and then tying it back in of how this is relevant to the potential employer. Okay, so taking another level of time, showcasing the awareness and understanding of how, through this experience and learning, of how this will make you a greater employee for this job. Okay, that really shows a lot of depth and a lot of thinking as well. So I really challenge you to think about that when you think of examples, not just an example you can think of in mind, but really dig deeper on the so what aspect of it. And then ultimately, obviously, you need to prepare by having mock interviews with someone. Okay? So those are the 10 things to keep in mind to prepare for a job search. Now, if you have any questions, feel free to type your question in the chat room here. Just want to make sure everyone can hear me here. If you want to maybe just type something in, I just want to make sure that everyone, the audio is okay here before we move on to the next segment. Can everyone hear me? Okay. Anyways, I'm assuming that everything is okay here. Okay. So moving on, I want to talk about the common job search mistakes that I see as a career coach and a recruiter. So a few things that I notice as a recruiter, like I get a lot of requests or inquiries on a daily basis. One common mistake I would say is the message that I see are what I call boring or standard. It doesn't really stand out. A common one would be, "Hi Diana, I'm looking for a job in this area. Can you help me get a job?" And that's it. There's nothing in terms of acknowledgement or trying to promote or sell themselves. It's just a very boring message, and I can tell you it doesn't entice someone to respond. And something that I wanted to talk about is that as a recruiter, we're there to look for the best people for an employer to hire. We're not necessarily there to go find someone a job. So in order for someone to help you get a job, you need to be able to demonstrate that you are an amazing candidate for them to consider so that they can also go and sell you as well. In order for them to sell you, you need to be able to sell yourself to stand out as an amazing candidate. Okay? And the difference, I would say, one of the advice I would say, there's a difference between asking for, can you get me a job, or can you introduce me to someone, versus asking for advice on, want to get some advice on the job search market, I want to get some advice about your company. I find just from experience that I tend to respond faster when someone is asking for an opinion and advice, because it's easier to say yes to versus asking someone to refer them for a job when they don't even really know them yet. Okay, so a lot of it is really how you frame your question and also the relationship that you have with this person. The number two job search mistake I would say that I see people make is really just relying on online postings. You know, most of the people I see is that they just look for jobs through common job boards like Indeed, Workopolis, and Monster. They see an opening and they apply, and they hope that someone will call them. And studies have shown that if you're just applying through online applications, you only have an 8% chance of actually even getting a call. So that's a very, very small chance. So you're more likely to get a no than a yes in that case. Now, I'm not saying to not apply through online application. It's still a great way for you to identify what opportunities are available. But through that, you want to actually find out who the recruiter is or who the hiring manager is, and try to follow up with them directly as well to get your foot in the door, or even get a recommendation. Number three, I would say, is a lack of focus. Now, oftentimes, I hear people say, well, I don't want to close any doors, so I'm going to apply for everything, or I'm going to target all industries, and I'll see what it gets me. In fact, that actually impacts your productivity and impacts the results you get, because you're spending time trying to do everything, but then you're not really specializing in something or targeting something that will really help you maximize your results. Now, you can apply, I would say, for roles that are relevant, but if you're spreading yourself too thin, it's going to be really hard. Because when you think about it, once you start up that networking, you can have a lot of coffee meetings, a lot of phone chats, and that's going to keep you really, really busy to stay on track and keep track of all these conversations. So it's actually easier if you can keep to like a few specific targeted roles or area to keep your message consistent. Okay. So those are some of the three common job search mistakes that I see. So moving on, let me talk about the different job search channels that you can use that apply to. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask me questions. This is your opportunity, your time as well for me to answer any questions you have. A few different job search channels that could work. So one is having coffee meetings. Right, this is more like the informational type of interviews where at first, when you're first starting off, it probably is just what I call it's more research-based, where you're asking a lot of questions to gather information. And as you progress through, once you gather enough information, it will turn into what I call more a bit more sales meeting, where you're promoting yourself and selling yourself that people can consider you for opportunities. So what I recommend at first is that you may want to meet with people who are not necessarily the hiring managers or the recruiters, because you're just gathering information. So you may want to meet with people who are in those roles, or those people who've gone through the type of roles that you aspire to be, to gather that information, so that when it comes to meeting the hiring manager or the recruiter, you can relate to what they're saying, or you can sell yourself better that way. Another way, job search channel, is through networking events. So what I mean by that is through conferences, seminars, meetups. You just have to go find out these events, and these could be, you could go to eventbrite.com or meetup.com to find out relevant events to attend. If you're still a student, a lot of times going to like information sessions, that would be helpful as well. This is a great way to meet people. And when you first start off, to be honest, a lot of events, you may not know which are the best events to attend, and you just kind of have to test it out and then ask other people who are in the industry what type of events that they attend, or even check out, let's say, any professional associations that often will hold events in that particular area for you to have more targeted meetings. The other way to channel is job boards. So it includes Indeed, Workopolis, Monster. LinkedIn is another great job board as well, and in fact it will also show you who posts the job, who the recruiter is. It will also indicate the compensation salary range for this opportunity as well. So it's a great way to leverage that. Another way is through company websites. So checking out your targeted companies or their websites, what openings that they may have. Number 5 is the referrals. So what you can do is that if you find out there's an opening at your targeted company, you would either first try to find someone either in your network who worked there or someone you know who may know someone else where you can have a meeting and see if they can actually refer you in for an opportunity. That certainly helps. Number 6 is through alumni that you can go through. So if you have a database of your access to your alumni from your school, that's a great way to find out, to connect with people. A really easy one right now, to be honest, is actually going on LinkedIn. Under the network tab, there is the alumni section that you can go in and select the school where you graduated from and connect with people. In fact, to be honest with you, you can actually go under the education tab, follow a university, and you can find what they call the notable people, like people who are high influence or high ranking in their jobs, and to connect with very senior people that way as well. So you can see here that there are multiple ways that you can go about your job search. So job board is just one of them that most people do, but if you can actually use different avenues for your job search, it will definitely open you to more opportunities. Okay. Okay, so moving on, what I would like to talk about is, I want to talk a little bit about, for those who are in that career transition and looking to make a change in an industry or a change in a role. And I want you to think about this way. If you map out a 2x2 grid, and essentially the vertical line, let's say it would be the role, and the horizontal line would be the industry. So you think about 4 boxes. On the bottom left is that you're going to stay in the same role, same industry. And on the bottom right is the same role, different industry. The top left is a different role, same industry. And the top right is a different role in different industry. So here's what I want to point out here is that if you are looking to make a change, but within a similar role, in a similar industry, that would be the easiest move to make. Why? Because you have the relevant knowledge, skills, and experience. Okay, so that would make you a more marketable candidate. If you're looking to make a complete change in a different industry and a different role, that would be the hardest move to make because you don't necessarily have the contacts in the industry and you don't necessarily have the expertise in that role. Okay, so if you're just applying through online application for a different role in a different industry, the likelihood for a recruiter to pick up to give you a call is very slim. That is because they are trained to look for a profile that is relevant, and they are the expectation that they have from hiring managers is that they're going to find someone who already has the knowledge, skills, and experience to do the job versus training someone from ground up. Okay, so if you're going to go down that route, what I call the different roles and different industry, here's just some things what you can do. First thing first is you want to map out what I call what are the similarities and differences. So what are the similarities in terms of the skills? So what are those transferable skills in the role? Okay. Number 2 is you want to ask, what do you know about this area? So for this different role, what do you know about the business? Okay. And the other thing is that if you're looking to go into this different role, you have to have a very clear, what I call a why. Like, why are you looking to make a change, let's say, from finance to marketing? What is it? Is it the fact that you like the creativity more, or you like to be working with customers more? What is that why? Because the why is what's really going to evoke the emotion for people to connect with you there. Okay, for that different industry that if you're looking to make a change in a different industry, you need to really first understand the industry. Like, what are the trends, opportunities? What are the challenges? What's in demand in that industry? What are the metrics of success? What's the pace of the industry as well? Like, I'll give you an example. If you're looking to add a client who may want to make a change from the government industry to the high-tech industry, the perception would be is that the government industry is probably a bit more hierarchical, slower pace, and the high-tech industry is flatter organization, faster pace. So as a recruiter or a hiring manager, when they first look at the resume, they're not going to see necessarily the transferable skills or the fit because of the perception that they have. So it's really important then in that case that you want to be able to build a case and convey like how you can adapt into this new environment as well. Okay, and so a question you want to ask when you're looking to make this change is, what are the perceived objection points from the potential employer? When they look at your profile, what are the reasons that they're giving of why you're not a great fit? Okay, so map that out, and what are those perceived objection points? Because if the awareness, by having the awareness, it's going to have help you to have a more to build a case of those objections here. So once you have that, is what's your counter points essentially based on what their perceived objections? How can you counter that of what that should not be a concern for them? So how can you prove that to them? Okay. So just keep that in mind then when you're looking to make the change in both an industry and a role. It's one of the hardest changes to make, but it is possible. Okay. So I would say that if you're looking to go into a different industry, similar role that you had before would be easier than a different role in the same industry. That's because you already have the functional expertise in a particular area, so it's easier to transition that way. And let me just give you some examples of clients of how they made these successful transitions. So I had someone this year, about 20 years of career in sales and in technology. And he was actually laid off, and so was unemployed also for over a year because he was also completing his MBA school, executive MBA. And he reached out to me afterwards when he was done school. And so we did some work together, and eventually he got hired into a completely different industry in financial services, a completely different role in procurement. Sales, procurement, tech to financial services. Completely different. And honestly, the way he got that, it was through networking. But when I say networking, it's actually a lot more than that. Like, he did so much due diligence and research and homework. Like, he interviewed people he knew in the industry who were experts in that area. He read reports, he read case studies, he talked to people in those roles, what it takes to be a successful candidate. He came up with a 30, 60, 90-day plan of what he would do if he was hired. Okay, so this eliminated, I guess, the concern or the risk that the potential hiring manager may have. Okay, so super well prepared to make that change, because it is a risk from if you think about it from a hiring manager, it's like someone who doesn't have industry expertise or functional expertise. So what makes this person a great candidate? So a lot of it goes back to the preparation, but also the soft skills, his communication skills. The fact that he was in sales, he's a great communicator, great presenter. He's worked with a lot of senior level people as well, so can also manage those relationships effectively. Just recently completed his MBA, so has also a strong business acumen. So that probably what really helped build the case there. Another case study was from another client who was also laid off as well, where she was in a pretty senior manager, marketing manager role in technology firm, and she got a job in marketing, in a financial services company. So different industry, but similar functional area of the role. And the way she got that was actually the hiring manager was her former boss way back in the day, and really enjoyed working with her, really understood. So just essentially, it's really the relationships goes back to having great relationships, great track record of success, understand each other's working styles, communication styles. They just know that they'll get along really well. So that really helped her accelerate the process. Another person going from marketing in electronics to a marketing role in CPG. So different industry, but similar role. And one of the challenges that faced was in the CPG world is to really look for the relevant industry experience. So what we had to do was really be able to convey even her resume that would be applicable to the new industry as well. But this person essentially had dozens and dozens of meetings and eventually got a referral through an alumni at her school. Okay. And then I'll share with you another one, is someone who was in a sales strategy role in consumer packaged goods and moved into a loyalty role in automotive industry. So a very different industry and a different role. But when you think about it, sales strategy and how is that relevant to loyalty, sales strategy still has that component of understanding customers. And the loyalty type of role also has a component of delighting your customers. So there is that relevancy there as well. So I guess a few learnings I want to point out here is that, you know, you want to ask yourself, you know, in terms of how you, if you're looking to make this transition, how do you sell yourself and convey that you have the relevant or transferable knowledge, skills, and experience? If you don't have that, what are the other alternatives? Could it be getting some extra education? You know, some people go back for an MBA, for example, getting a certificate, getting a diploma, taking a course online, attending an industry event or a conference, finding a mentor in the industry that you're interested in to get your foot in the door to learn more about that. So there are many, many things that you can do to get yourself more prepared and ready for a new challenge, a new role. Okay? So that's all I have for tonight. I want to open it up here to see if anyone have questions. If we don't have any questions, I will end the Q&A session early here tonight. If you have any questions, this is your opportunity to ask me questions. Anything related to job search, resumes, interviews, LinkedIn, I'll be happy to answer them. Oh, it's a quiet group tonight. It's interesting. Any questions? What are some of the key learnings that you had here? Can everyone hear me? All right, I don't see any questions. So if there aren't any questions, I will wrap the session earlier here. Let's see here. One thing I do want to offer actually in tonight's session for those who are here tonight, that if you're looking to get a one-on-one session with me, feel free to send me an email and we can set something up. I'm happy to offer a special here for those who are here tonight for a 40-minute session for $200. Usually that is $250. If you go on to mymarketability.com under the Work With Me page, under the Am I Marketable assessment, you can fill out a questionnaire there or just send an email to me at diana@mymarketability.com. I'm happy to set up a session with you to answer any questions that you may have, or if you want me to review your resume, your LinkedIn profile, your cover letter, give you feedback on your elevator pitch, I'm happy to do that there. Okay. So anyhow, thank you so much for being here tonight. Want to wish you all the best this busy recruiting season. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. And if you're new to here as well, you're not on my mailing list, subscribe to my mailing list at mymarketable.com, and I look forward to staying in touch. Thank you so much. Take care, everyone. Bye now.